Hello, welcome back to LTC Heroes. We are on a cruise ship with IntelyCare. The event is called Intely at Sea 2022, and I'm joined today with Shawn Hegyi. He's an STNA from Cleveland, Ohio. Shawn, welcome to the program.
Hi, how are you doing today?
Good. I'm excited to talk to you because yesterday when you and I ran into each other on the dance floor, I said, "You're an STNA." I said, "I want to get you on the program." Myself
Mhm.
being a CNA. Tell me a little bit. Let's start off. Why did you come on a cruise to hang out with tons and tons, hundreds of nursing professionals this week?
Honestly, this is like my first cruise I've ever been on. And I was like, I don't think I've ever heard of any other job like offering a cruise either to begin with. And I was like, okay. And then they made it sound even better like weeks and weeks later because they're like, oh, we'll give you credit for it. And then they have this on the boat and everything. It just seemed like lots of fun, honestly.
And you get to hang out. I mean, it's Nurses Week, so getting to celebrate Nurses Week with a bunch of your peers, dancing 3 nights in
Mhm.
a row of receptions, and getting off at the cruise, getting off at the different islands. You can't complain, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So,
Everything about
I,
them.
I, I, in order to understand how you get here, I want to ask you how you got into long-term care. Can you tell me your long-term care initiation story to get into the details as much as you want? I had a grandmother, or I knew a neighbor, or I volunteered when I was in high school.
Mm. So I originally started back in like high school when I got like certified and everything, because my mother, she's always been like a occupational therapist. So I'd go to work with her, see some of the residents, do therapy with them and everything. But then I went to like a career school and they offered the STNA classes. So I just jumped on board with that. And all my like teachers and everyone was so friendly. And they're like, everything's fine as long as you like, because they always have told me like, oh, you have that kind of heart for this and everything, and you should really like pursue this medical career and everything.
Shawn, when you did that, you were in high school when you decided to become an STNA.
Yep,
Yeah.
yeah.
Did you have any friends do it with you?
Yeah, we had like a class, I think, of like 40 in our group and everything.
I think that that's such an amazing initiative. I feel like that would definitely help with the staffing crisis. But not everybody's made to be cut out for long term care. How would you define what makes a great STNA?
Definitely like being able to like care for people, like, I don't know, like the
What type of characteristics or attributes or what are the things that come up to in your mind when you think of, like, I have this coworker and he or she is amazing and they do this and that?
definitely like listening and like adhering to like what people are saying. Like, I don't know, I really like enjoy just going to residents' rooms and just like hearing about their family, because obviously they're like 50 or 40 years older than me, so they've lived and had way more experiences and everything.
Do you have any unique stories? Any story that, like, you know what, if I passed away tomorrow, I'm gonna remember this, and I'm gonna take this one to heaven with me. Some resident who either made you smile, or you changed some resident's life, or you helped a family member as they were saying goodbye to a resident.
Hmm. Oh yeah, all the time, especially if like it's a more like frequent facility that I'm visiting and everything. You start like picking up like some of their habits that they say, like who they like go and talk to at the dining room or something like that, and the way they just like they'll come to you and talk to you even though they know you're like not their staff and everything like that.
Hmm. In terms of uh, what you take home with you in long term care, is there any way that working and taking care of America's elderly population has changed who you are, either the way that you feel about yourself or the way you communicate with others?
Oh, definitely more so than ever. Because like I said, I've been doing it since like high school. So like as soon as like COVID-19 hit, and that's when I like joined into telecare and everything, I was like, there's so many like major changes from just like the facility I was working at to like Ohio wide and everything like that.
Is there anything about the work during COVID that you're really proud that you did? a specific week that was really hard, and you saw a lot of tears and a lot of loss, and you had to work a long shift, or there was a family that was separated from their resident and you ended up being kind of the sit-in son for that resident? Any stories from COVID that you feel like need to be documented?
Oh yeah, definitely. Because a lot of the facilities too, they weren't like allowing visitors, so they would literally have to like set them up next to the window. So I would be there, like getting them all dressed up, doing their hair, making sure like they're presented well and everything, and then just like holding the phone for them as their like family members are over there crying because like they're on the lockdown unit, so they have COVID, and we're like all gowned up with our mask and goggles and everything, and we're just like trying to provide that communication that they're used to, that they're not allowed to have or couldn't have at the moment because so much was unknown.
In terms of your work ethic and your passion, is there someone in your life, a mentor or a first supervisor, who helped you be the strong STNA that you are today?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like I said, back in high school with my teachers, because they were saying how they worked at skilled units, long-term units, and even like the hospitals and things like that. And they were like, oh, the hospitals go, 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 versus like long-term units where you can literally go get a good communication with your residents and like just talk and relax with them sometimes.
In I guess as we start to wrap up, I want to ask you what advice you would give to a 15-year-old or a 16-year-old who comes to you, and this program might not be offered at their high school, but they see you every single day dressing up in scrubs. They see you smiling. They see you posting on Facebook or TikTok that you went on a cruise with 500 nursing professionals, and they're like, I want to work in long-term care. What advice would you give them, and why?
I would definitely give them the advice. It's definitely it's a job that always need people, so you never have to worry about like job insecurity. And it's really one if you're good with communication skills, really, because you like I said, you just go around, you can talk to residents, and it's not constant like hard labor kind of. It's like momentarily because you're just moving residents and all that.
And this will be kind of my last question is, I've spoken to a lot of nursing professionals today and over the last year and a half, and the way society treats us today in scrubs is different than maybe 5 years ago after coming out of COVID. When someone comes up to you and you're in your scrubs and they say, Shawn, thank you for what you've done. Thank you for taking care of our elderly. How do you feel?
Oh, I definitely feel like basically airheaded, kind of like blown up ego. But then I'm like, I do so much for not only just them, it's like every residence that on my unit or wherever I'm at. I've done plenty for them, and they've lived a wonderful life, and I'm just trying to continue it for them, basically.
Shawn, thank you so much for joining LTC Heroes. It was a pleasure to meet you. It was great to be on this cruise and see you the next couple nights. And hopefully next year we'll be back with IntelyCare.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Talk to you soon. And that wraps up what I hope to be a fun and insightful conversation from some of the frontline caregivers and leaders in our industry. A special thanks to IntelyCare, who made this event possible. This interview and many others this week were held at an event called IntelySea for Nursing Professionals Week cruise held from May 9th to the 13th of 2022. IntelyCare set sail to reimagine and celebrate a new type of Nurses Week. IntelyCare, thank you for supporting our nurses. Now head over to www.ltcheroes.com/community and let's do care better together today. LTC Heroes is more than a podcast. It's a community.